Tonight on ABC News Live Prime, severe weather across the country just in time for one of the busiest travel days of the year. As 73 million people prepare to hit the road, blizzard warnings, whiteout conditions, and tornado watches and heavy rain across the south heading into the northeast. A ground stop at the country's busiest airport as air traffic controllers evacuate.
The tower is evacuating and going down to minimal staffing due to a possible tornado over the airport.
I'm Matt Rivers with a look at what this wild weather means for travelers.
Plus, the cross-country storm looming for the return trip home. Ginger Z is tracking it all. President Trump says progress has been made to end Russia's war in Ukraine. The U.S. official says there are minor details to sort out, but the Ukraine has agreed to a peace deal.
The war shows no sign of slowing, despite high-level talks between the U.S. and both Russia and Ukraine.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth orders the Navy to review Senator Mark Kelly for potentially unlawful conduct. This as the FBI requests interviews with the 6 Democratic lawmakers seen in that video, telling troops that they have the right to refuse illegal orders.
I'm Rachel Scott with the latest on this from the White House.
And a new study into how the brain's wiring changes throughout life reveals there are 5 pivotal ages for your brain, and that adolescence stretches all the way into your 30s. Which stage are you currently in?
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is Prime with Linsey Davis.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. It is the busiest travel day of the Thanksgiving holiday, and we begin this Tuesday night with the severe storms impacting the millions who are already on the road. Time-lapse video shows the storms rolling over Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. Air traffic controllers had to partially evacuate the tower for a time over tornado concerns there. And now a second storm is set to hit. Tonight, new images of a tornado near Houston, a fire crew taking shelter in a garage as powerful winds blew through that area. On the roads, a fiery crash shut down I-95 in Chesterfield County, Virginia. A tanker truck veered off the highway, caught on fire, backing up traffic for miles. And from Chicago tonight, bumper-to-bumper traffic as coast-to-coast Americans are traveling to try to be with their loved ones for the holiday. Ginger Z is standing by with the storms tonight. But first, ABC's Matt Rivers leads us off from LaGuardia Airport in New York City.
Tonight, 2 major storms sweeping across the country, bringing heavy snow to the Midwest, severe weather in the south, and drenching rain to the northeast, all on the busiest holiday travel day at the nation's airports.
Very, very busy. It's very busy right now.
More than 52,000 flights scheduled today alone. Major airports from D.C. to Philadelphia right up to New York City bracing for delays.
You're just kind of planning for the worst, hoping for the best.
For sure. That's, kind of what I'm hoping for. Hopefully I can get on my plane today. If not, then, maybe they can reschedule me before Thanksgiving.
At the world's busiest airport, Hartsfield-Jackson in Atlanta, severe weather halting flights.
The tower is evacuating and going down to minimal staffing due to a possible tornado over the airport.
The control tower evacuated as storms rolled in. The skies darkening, but no tornado was confirmed. That same system did kick up at least 2 tornadoes in Texas in the past 24 hours. And new video showing the moment a tornado touched down just north of Houston, sending debris flying, pelting that fire truck. The firefighters taking cover in a garage, more than 100 homes damaged. Tonight in the Midwest, near whiteout conditions, making for treacherous travel near Fargo, North Dakota. Plows racing to keep the runways clear at Hector International Airport. And more than 73 million hitting the roads this holiday.
We want to beat the traffic. We know everybody's going to be traveling and just trying to get ahead.
The drive off to a rough start on the busy I-95. Watch as a tractor trailer veers off the highway in Chesterfield County, Virginia, south of Richmond, exploding in a fireball. The southbound lane shut for hours, backing up traffic for miles.
Some grueling traffic out there already. Matt Rivers joins us now from LaGuardia Airport. What's the scene like there, Matt?
No question, things are very busy here at LaGuardia, Linsey, and then we expect that to continue tonight into the next couple of days. As far as tonight goes, the rain really moving to this area at this moment, so that's going to complicate things. But for now, delays, cancellations on that board behind me looking okay, even as a lot of people we're speaking to here are wary after months of travel chaos. Linsey.
All right, Matt Rivers for us. Thanks so much, Matt. Let's get right to ABC's chief meteorologist, Ginger Z, who's tracking it all for us. Hi, Ginger.
Hi, Lindsay. So tail end of the severe storms moving through parts of Alabama and Georgia tonight. But up here, obviously, it's raining. And so from Allentown to Harrisburg, you're going to see some heavy rains move in. Most of us will dry out after 2, 3 a.m., which is great news because a lot of people will not be traveling at that time. And we'll have some dry time early tomorrow. But let's talk about the next storm because it is so powerful, already causing major problems on the roads in the northern plains. Blizzard warnings from just south of Duluth over to the Keweenaw Peninsula in the upper peninsula of Michigan, Aberdeen, South Dakota. Remember, blizzard means it's not just snowing, but you've got wind-driven snow, like 60-mile-per-hour winds possible, even down to the high wind warnings on I-80 in Nebraska. That is not going to be easy to get around. Cedar Rapids, Chicago, Indianapolis, Detroit, and Columbus could see air travel impacted and even some of the roads because of wind alone, those wind advisories in place. Then we're going to see the lake effect snow take over. So after this kind of twist through the Great Lakes, watch as the showers come through. New York's dry for most of tomorrow, as is Boston, but then that line by the afternoon and evening will bring some scattered showers. And then it's all about how blustery, cold, and the lake effect snow warning. Some places 6 to 12 inches in western New York or western Pennsylvania, definitely in West Michigan. I always point out 131 is a highway there that does not do well, I-96 as well. Then Thursday's blustering cold across much of the Northeast, all the way down to Atlanta on Thanksgiving itself. But the next storm, this is what we're watching for the snow and the disruptor on Saturday. As people turn around, they say, okay, I got to get home now. Chicago can end up seeing some evening snow there, and that's a problem. Rain down to the Gulf Coast. And then if you are traveling along the I-95 corridor on Sunday, like so many people plan to do, the earlier the better for many reasons, including the weather, because rain will be moving in from west to east as we go through the day on Sunday, Lindsay.
All right, word to the wise there. Ginger, thanks so much. Next tonight, the FBI is now requesting interviews with 6 Democratic lawmakers who told military members in those videos they do not have to follow illegal orders. President Trump has accused those lawmakers of seditious behavior punishable by death. The FBI is now moving in, and the Pentagon is threatening to court-martial Senator and retired astronaut Mark Kelly. Here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, the FBI wants to talk to the 6 Democratic lawmakers who President Trump accused of seditious behavior punishable by death for recording this message to the military.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Telling service members they should not follow illegal orders.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
Tonight, the FBI has requested interviews with all 6 lawmakers, including New Hampshire Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander, who served as an intelligence officer in the Navy Reserve.
I will not be intimidated. I will not be harassed. I will continue to do my job and uphold my oaths.
It comes as the Pentagon threatens to court-martial Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, a retired Navy captain who flew 39 combat missions in Iraq before going on to become an astronaut. Today, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth called the video a, quote, politically motivated influence operation. Senator Kelly explaining why the lawmakers used the words they did.
We basically repeated the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and they're saying that's in violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It's absurd.
Rachel Scott joins us now from the White House. Rachel, Secretary Hegseth has continued to escalate these attacks on Senator Kelly. Tell us about the action that he took late today.
Yes, Lindsay, the defense secretary continues to criticize Senator Mark Kelly. He's now sent a letter over to the Secretary of the Navy asking for a review of his comments for potentially unlawful conduct, saying that he wants to be briefed on the matter no later than December 10th, Lindsay.
All right, Rachel Scott for us. Thanks so much, Rachel. For more now, we're joined by retired 4-star General Wesley Clark. General, thank you so much for your time. So there have been tens of thousands of people online searching for what are illegal military orders. What do you believe constitutes an illegal order?
That's the question of the day, isn't it, Lindsay? So for obviously something that's manifestly unlawful, like shooting civilians, murdering prisoners, torture of detainees. Those things are manifestly unlawful. But that's not exactly what's at issue here. And so what's happened is that that some have said that you shouldn't be attacking these boats and sinking them. And yet the legal apparatus in the Pentagon has said do it. And even though some questions have been raised, the legal experts say it is lawful. And apparently it's gone up to the Attorney General's office, the Office of Legal Counsel, and they have said it's a lawful order. So that's what's lawful. Now, there's a difference between officers and enlisted and what their oaths are. The officers are responsible to the Constitution, not to the president, to the Constitution, and the enlisted members are responsible to the chain of command, including the president. So this is about whether officers are supposed to look at this dispute and take sides on it one way or another. I think it's an impossible question, honestly, for our leaders in uniform. Take the military out of it, let the politicians speak. If they don't like it, under the War Powers Resolution, they can call it and cut it off. But I don't think this is a burden you should put on the men and women in uniform at this point for that operation in the Caribbean.
If you were still a general and you got given an order that you thought was perhaps not legal, questionable at best, what would you do?
I go through the chain of command to the lawyers. I have a lawyer. He goes up the chain of command to the top lawyer in the Army, the top lawyer in the Defense Department. And if everybody says it's legal, I guess I have to use my own conscience. If I say it's not legal, then I don't obey it. But at that point, I'm out. I say, let me go. I'm gone. And, we've had discussions like this before. People have done this before. Before the war in Iraq, we had a Marine, a 3-star, who was the director of operations of the Joint Staff. He didn't say the war was going to be illegal. He thought it was a bad policy, and he resigned. I give him a lot of credit for that. Nobody else did. It turned out he was right. It was a really bad decision to invade Iraq, but everybody else went along with it. It wasn't that it was illegal. So I think what we've gotten here is a hyper-politicization of this issue, to be honest with you.
The White House and some Republicans have said if those 6 lawmakers thought something illegal was happening, they should have come out and said it specifically. What was your reaction to seeing that video from lawmakers last week?
I think it was, a political gesture on the part of the 6 lawmakers. There's a lot of heat in Congress right now. There's a lot of unhappiness in this country.
Hegseth has directed the Navy to review Senator Kelly's conduct. Do you think that that's appropriate?
Well, it's kind of unprecedented, but this administration's done previous things that are unprecedented. So I think when they look at it, they're going to be it's going to be a spectacle. It's a political spectacle in Washington, and I hope it won't have any impact on the men and women in uniform who are serving wherever they are, our country.
General Wesley Clark, we thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
President Trump is claiming progress toward ending the war in Ukraine. The administration says Ukraine has now agreed to core terms in the U.S. brokered 19-point peace deal. This as Russian forces continue to hammer Kyiv. Here's our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, who reports from Kyiv tonight.
With Ukrainian troops on the back foot, Russian missiles and drones raining down on Kyiv, tonight President Trump saying tremendous progress has been made to end Russia's war in Ukraine. A U.S. official telling ABC News there are some minor details to be sorted out, but Ukraine has agreed to a peace deal. The apparent breakthrough coming after U.S.-Ukrainian talks in Switzerland. President Trump writing on Truth Social, the original 28-point peace plan, which was drafted by the United States, has been fine-tuned with additional input from both sides, and there are only a few remaining points of disagreement. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll today in talks with a Russian delegation in Abu Dhabi. Now, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff heading to Moscow to talk with Vladimir Putin.
I think we're getting very close to a deal. We'll find out. I thought that one would have been gone quicker.
Russia's foreign minister says he's seen the original plan, but this new version must reflect the spirit and letter of the initial agreement reached between Putin and Trump at their Alaska summit. But the war hasn't even slowed down. Videos circulating online overnight showing a flurry of Russian missiles and drones targeting the Ukrainian capital.
I don't know if you heard that. We're now getting intense Russian bombardment of the capital.
Today, another victim of this war was buried. John James Witherspoon, a young American volunteer from Michigan. He was killed fighting for Ukraine.
who is there to defend the freedom, sovereignty, and ancestral lands of innocent people.
Kneeling to pay tribute to the fallen American, Ukrainians who grieve and pray for an end to this long, bloody war.
Ian joins us now from Kyiv. Ian, are the Russians saying anything about this revised peace plan, and what else is President Trump saying?
Yeah, I mean, what we heard from the Russians today was they were broadly in agreement with what we think was the original 28-point peace plan. What the Russians were saying was a conversation they'd had with President Trump back in Anchorage, that summit in Alaska, that was the basis of an agreement. They're aware that this has been changed. They're not saying publicly that they've seen it or whether or not that it's acceptable, but they're certainly hinting that if there are major concessions, that is going to be very difficult for them to agree to. And to be honest, even with these signs of progress, we had President Trump late today, despite the Ukrainians keen on President Zelensky traveling to Washington soon as possible, saying that President Trump will meet with Vladimir Putin and President Zelensky, but only when we're in the final stages of a deal. Lindsay.
Ian panel for us in Kyiv, Ukraine. Thanks so much, Ian. There's a disturbing turn in the search for a missing high school football coach in Virginia who vanished during an undefeated season. Investigators say he's now considered a fugitive, wanted for allegations of child pornography and trying to solicit a minor. ABC's Mola Lange has the details.
Tonight, a dramatic twist in the search for a Virginia high school coach who vanished in the middle of his football team's undefeated season.
The Virginia State Police has obtained 10 warrants for missing high school football coach Travis L. Turner.
Turner, now considered a fugitive, wanted on multiple counts of possession of child pornography and using a computer to solicit a minor, according to state police. Authorities say Turner disappeared as agents were heading to his home on Thursday during the early stages of an investigation. Police using drones to search the woods around Turner's house for days.
We've had K-9 units, bloodhounds from local departments, sheriff's office here in Wise, state police dogs into the woods searching place where Mr. Turner may have been or had seen.
The married father last seen wearing a gray sweatshirt, sweatpants, and glasses. Turner, the head football coach at Union High School for nearly 15 years, was awarded the 2021 Prep Football Coach of the Year, appearing on camera after a recent victory.
Our kids did a good job making some plays and getting, once we got the momentum, we didn't turn it loose there in the second half.
Tonight, the Wise County School District saying in a new statement, it is aware that law enforcement has filed charges against a staff member who has been on administrative leave. The individual remains on leave and is not permitted on school property or to have contact with students. Officials did not name the employee.
Mola Lange joins us now. Mola, what is Travis Turner's family saying about this turn of events?
Well, in a statement through the family's attorney, they are saying tonight any allegations should be addressed through the proper legal process, not through speculation and rumor. And tonight, Lindsay, the family is asking for privacy and for compassion.
Mola Lange for us. Thanks so much, Mola. 2 men and 2 women have been arrested in connection to last month's brazen daylight heist at the Louvre. Paris police said the additional 4 are currently being questioned by investigators and will be held for up to 96 hours. The group who committed the robbery took less than 8 minutes to enter the museum and steal several pieces of Napoleonic royal jewelry valued at more than $100 million. None of the pieces have been recovered. Campbell's Soup is defending its ingredients after an executive was apparently recorded bashing the company's products and their customers. The recording was released as part of a lawsuit by a former employee. In it, a company vice president can be heard criticizing soup ingredients, saying it's food for, quote, poor people with meat made from bioengineered chicken. Campbell's refutes the claims, and now Florida's Attorney General is investigating. Critic of vaccines, Louisiana Surgeon General Ralph Abraham has been named Principal Deputy Director of the CDC. As second in command and now the most senior scientist at the agency, Abraham will be responsible for key decisions on public health issues. He has previously called COVID vaccines dangerous. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. himself has made similar claims about vaccines. Abraham's predecessor at the CDC has called him unqualified, saying he doesn't have a good grasp of understanding scientific data. Gas prices have fallen to their lowest level in 4 years as millions gear up to travel for Thanksgiving. The global benchmark price of Brent crude oil has fallen about 17% since June, and the fall off in demand after the summer travel season has been steep. Oklahoma currently has the lowest prices, coming in at $2.50 a gallon. Coming up, a stunning account from actress Tara Reid. The incident at a hotel, she says, left her unconscious for hours. As we learn new details about the spot where 14-year-old Emmett Till was killed by racists, the only living witness recounts that horrifying day.
Do you forgive Mississippi? Do you forgive America for what happened? Do you forgive those people?
If you don't forgive, God ain't forgiving you.
And new research on what stage of life you may be in by your brain, why adulthood may actually start much later than we initially thought. Welcome back, everyone. The results of a new study out today about how our brain develops as we age is surprising many neuroscientists. The most shocking finding is that the period of adolescence, when the brain becomes more efficient in its connections, continues much later into our lives than previously thought. That study is tonight's By the Numbers. Researchers at the University of Cambridge, who published their findings in the journal Nature Communications just today, found that brain development moves through 5 distinct structural phases instead of following along one smooth curve. The first phase was not too surprising. From birth through age 9, the brain grows rapidly in disparate areas linked with one another to help the brain become more organized and ready for increasingly complex communication. The surprise, though, came with the next phase, ages 9 to 32. As neural networks become more efficient and specialized, regions of the brain take on clearer, more refined roles. This phase was thought to end when people reach the age of 25, but the new research shows otherwise. Brain efficiency then declines from ages 32 until 66, a period when information does not travel as quickly among different brain regions. In the third phase, from ages 66 to 83, brain health declines as white matter in the central nervous system thins out. This is also the period when dementia often presents itself and high blood pressure can begin to take its toll. Beyond the age of 83, brain health is less predictable. Connections are fewer, and any declines, of course, become more pronounced. There were some limitations to the study, though. The researchers looked at the brains of more than 4,200 subjects, from newborns to 90-year-olds. This was a cross-sectional study which did not look at how the brain of one person changes across their lifespan. And joining us now for more is neurologist Dr. Leah Kroll. Dr. Kroll, thanks so much for joining us. As we just mentioned, this study is saying that our brains age within 5 stages, and the age span within those stages is pretty vast. What's the significance of this?
Linsey, we're sort of taking a Taylor Swift approach to brain development, where we're looking at the brain taking on sort of eras of organization within itself. And we're really seeing that over the time, the brain is constantly remodeling itself, improving itself, fine-tuning its connections. It's always changing. It's always learning. There are certain eras where the brain is more plastic or more able to make those new connections within its different regions relative to other eras.
How will this study potentially help future medical research when it comes to our brain and understanding it?
Well, I think really this comes down to 2 different things. The first is what we just mentioned, which is that the brain is always changing, which means there's always an opportunity for us to intervene to promote better brain health. We've talked a lot on this show, you and I, about the importance of a healthy lifestyle for protecting your brain health as we age. And I think that research like this will only help us better understand the relationship between our lifestyle and medical choices and what our brains can do as we get older. The other thing that's really interesting here, as you mentioned, that adolescent phase of brain development that goes from ages 9 to 32 is longer than we once thought. This also happens to be the years where a lot of mental health problems start to declare themselves. So I think that gives us a new sort of direction in terms of the research on this. What's going on as the brain is maximizing its efficiency and strengthening its connections in these years that also makes it more vulnerable? And how can we use what we learn from research like that to inform interventions to treat and maybe even prevent mental illness?
And you just touched on this. I do think, though, that reading this study, many people are going to be surprised to learn adolescence extends into our mid-30s. Does this mean we do have to rethink the way we see and understand adolescence, or is there now a new meaning that'll be ascribed to the word?
I think that really when we're talking in this context, which is the adolescence of neuroscience, that's something different than what we classically think of as adolescence, right? Because what this study is not saying is it's not saying that the brain of a 30-year-old and a 10-year-old is exactly the same. It's more that in those years, the brain is undergoing a general pattern of reorganization and development. But certainly adolescence, as it pertains to our biology and our bodies, and our psychological development, remains the same. It's more just that the brain is still fine-tuning those connections beyond the mid-20s, which is different than what we previously thought.
And so the study didn't take into account differences in sex or psychological changes like menopause. Does this help give us a broader view of how our brains are changing and wired through the course of our lives?
It does. I think one thing we've been learning, and it's really interesting that you mentioned menopause in particular, is that the brain does remodel itself, that it does become sensitive to its environment, whether that's a medical environment, a hormonal environment, a lifestyle environment. We know from research that came out earlier this year, for example, that the brain remodels itself during and after pregnancy, for example. So I think really understanding how the brain is changing over time, kind of applying this new era's, if you will, framework towards neuroscience and brain research will really help us better understand how the brain is changing with us as we change with time.
And what are some things that people can do in order to try to make the transition into these different phases less severe?
The number one thing that I always tell people for promoting better brain health is exercise. So it doesn't matter if you're a child or you're in your 90s, exercising will do such good for your brain, both in the short term in terms of maximizing performance and in the long term in terms of protecting your brain health, minimizing that risk for cognitive decline. Beyond exercise, you want to look at a healthy diet. We love the Mediterranean diet in neuroscience. Maximizing your sleep, managing stress well, and really maintaining healthy relationships and a healthy social life throughout your lifetime.
Dr. Leah Kroll, we thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up, it's been 70 years since the murder of Emmett Till, and now his cousin, the only living witness to his kidnapping, takes us on a train ride to Mississippi to relive a dark chapter in America's history. And researchers have found a link between sleep apnea and Parkinson's disease. So how can you lower your risk? Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. This week, we learned the barn where Emmett Till was killed was purchased by the Emmett Till Interpretive Center and will open as a memorial in the coming years to remind the world of the horror that took place there. It was late August of 1955 when Till and his cousin, Reverend Wheeler Parker Jr., took the train from Chicago to Mississippi. What happened next is certainly a dark chapter in American history. A mob of racists lynched and shot the 14-year-old. This summer, the 86-year-old Reverend, who is the only living eyewitness to Till's kidnapping, took the very same train ride to Mississippi. Our Steve Osunsami and team were there with the Reverend as he relived that painful and deeply personal journey.
My goal in my life journey is to help people see the light about love and not hate. I've been set free from hate. And once you've been set free, you don't want to experience it. And I can't afford the luxury of hate.
Watch your step.
We're coming.
Reverend Wheeler Parker says that his Bible tells him to forgive. And he says that's what he's doing here.
Thank you.
Taking an overnight train to Mississippi with his wife, trying to make peace.
Oh my goodness.
With the murder of his cousin by a clan of racists.
If you dwell on it, you'll come out of it injured.
Mm-hmm. Nearly 70 years ago to this day.
Do you forgive Mississippi? Do you forgive America for what happened? Do you forgive those people?
If you don't forgive, God ain't forgiving you. Vengeance belongs to God, and you got to believe that.
Is it hard for you to go back to Mississippi ever?
For a long time, I wouldn't go. For over 10 years.
This 86-year-old preacher in the sunset of his life is the only living witness of the kidnapping of Emmett Till in 1955. They were barely teenagers when he and his cousin took a train like this one from their home in Chicago to spend the summer with family in Mississippi. But only one of them would return alive.
Cotton picking time, just starting down south. When you're young, you just want to get there and get going and seeing your cousin.
Both of you were excited to go?
Yeah, man. It was a venture for us, you know. But see, I'm from the South. I'm acutely aware of the mores of the South. He didn't know that. I knew where I was going. We call it going behind the Iron Curtain.
He says they warned his cousin that things were different behind that Iron Curtain in America, that black children who were out after dark could pay with their lives, and that black boys should never even dare speak to white women.
You know you could get killed for reckless eyeball.
For reckless eyeball?
Reckless eyeball. Do you know what it was like in 1955?
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it.
When we arrived in the Mississippi Delta in the morning rain, he took us to what's left of the grocery store.
Where was the entrance when you were...
Right in front here.
Overgrown with weeds, and much smaller than the scene he remembers as a child. This is where the white woman who worked here claimed that his 14-year-old cousin had grabbed her, put his hands around her waist, and then told her he had slept with white women before. It was all over the daily papers with quotes from a young Wheeler Parker calling 21-year-old Carolyn Bryant a pretty lady, interviews he says he never gave. Bryant and her husband Roy owned the store. In 2007, she told a book writer that she lied, and then she died in 2023, never apologizing to the black families.
What should I not forget to tell America about what happened here?
It's history. I'm not here to serve animosity or hate. Talk about history. Let the world see. Let the world know how far we've come. America's great. We made a lot of progress. And we should do a better job and be more open about it. It happened. You can't deny that, you know. That's the truth. The truth will make you free.
Reverend Parker, who was there, says the truth is that Emmett Till only whistled at the woman and says the bigger mistake was that he and his cousin and a few other black boys were there without an adult. They knew in seconds their lives were on the line and ran from the store. What happened next would leave a bloody stain on the fabric of American history.
2:30 in the morning, I hear these people talking. So you got two boys here from Chicago. And we want to talk to the one that did the talk. I said, God, I'm getting ready to die. They finna kill us. But when he did that, we could have disappeared. When he whistled at that lady, he violated a big moray. Could have been shot on the spot. I said, God, I'm gonna die.
So 2:30 in the morning, someone comes to the door?
Yeah, they're knocking on the door, and you couldn't see your face, hand in front of your face.
Was it screaming? They were...
No, not screaming, just this belligerent death talk, what we call death talk. It's like he's not respecting them. So they left with him. That's the last time we saw him alive.
That was the last time you saw him alive?
Before the night was over, Carolyn Bryant's husband and half-brother would drag Emmett Till to a barn and then mutilate the child in unspeakable ways before shooting him in the head and then dumping his body in the Tallahatchie River. His mother couldn't even recognize her child and demanded an open casket at his funeral, determined to shock the nation and change the law, which she did.
And as much as my son had to die, I don't want his death to be a vain thing. If it can further the cause of freedom, then I will say that he died a hero.
This is the barn. So many people we talk with around here say that for many years, they couldn't speak to what happened inside of here, and for different reasons. For some, it was about not giving word to the horror that happened here. And for others, it was about living in denial.
Tonight, we gather here in Greenwood, Mississippi, humbled by the weight of history and lifted by the power of remembrance.
On this 70th anniversary of Emmett Till's murder, people from around the world are meeting Reverend Parker in Mississippi.
We recognize that the blood still cries.
Vowing to never forget.
His name, Emmett Till.
This couple drove from Arkansas to see the barn for themselves.
I want it to be taught. I want history to be taught. We have ugly parts of history, but it needs to be taught.
The owners of the barn are now selling it to a history museum with the help of a major donation from television producer Shonda Rhimes. She explained to our Robin Roberts why this was a must-do.
I don't think I'd ever known where it happened, where a child had been tortured and killed. I couldn't let it go.
They're also trying to preserve the land where the boys slept that night and the old grocery store where the injustice began. And while we were there, they put the gun those men used on display at a local museum. America's laws never held a single person responsible, and there are people here who still fight with the truth. They've had to replace this signpost, for example, spelling out what happened here more than once, because some people keep filling it with bullet holes. It's all a reminder that whatever peace we here in America enjoy today doesn't come easy. And the good Reverend insists that forgiveness has to be part of this story.
People who don't forgive, they suffer. They suffer tremendously.
But this is about people who are lynching people, that a lot of black folks aren't in a reconciliation mood and want a different attitude for different times.
Right, right. From my perspective, everybody got to come stand before God. Get people to see the light, and that's my job. And Martin Luther King took that attitude, Jesus took that attitude. So that's what we have to do, try to change individuals.
Our thanks to the Reverend and Steve Osinsami for that conversation. Coming up, can moss survive in one of the harshest environments imaginable? Scientists tried it in space. Did it work? From the Grinch to Gossip Girl, our conversation next with Taylor Momsen, who's back in front of the mic. Space moss, a woman comes back from the dead, and the Dodgers superstar with a major announcement. These stories and more in tonight's rundown. Tara Reid, the actress known from the American Pie film, says she was at a hotel in Chicago when someone slipped a drug into her drink. She told TMZ she left her drink at the hotel bar to smoke and came back to find it covered with a napkin. Reid says she was unconscious for 8 hours and is now urging people to always keep an eye on their drinks. Police say they got a call for a sick person at the hotel but have not confirmed any drugging. A woman in Thailand found alive inside a coffin that was going to be sent for cremation. The 65-year-old woman's brother says that she had been bedridden for 2 years. He thought she had died when she appeared to stop breathing. Staff at a temple heard knocking, opened the coffin to find her alive. She's now being treated at a hospital. Researchers are finding a link between a common sleep disorder and Parkinson's disease. Scientists reviewing the medical records of more than 11 million veterans found those diagnosed with sleep apnea were nearly twice as likely to develop Parkinson's, but getting access to CPAP machines within 2 years of diagnosis, commonly used to treat sleep apnea, lowered the risk. The findings were published in the journal JAMA Neurology. The ShamWow guy, Vince Shlomi, is running for Congress and is looking to wipe the floor with the competition. The once prominent infomercial pitchman filing as a Republican to represent Texas's 31st congressional district, a seat held by Republican Representative John Carter, who's already announced he will be seeking re-election. The former pitchman told Fox News he wants to destroy wokeism in Congress and that he's been motivated by the political infighting in the country to run and make America happy. Moss has been shown to survive on one of the harshest environments imaginable, the exterior of the International Space Station. Researchers sent 3 different types of moss structures to the orbital outposts that were attached to the outside of the space station for a total of 283 days before being sent back to Earth. 80% of the spores were still capable of reproducing upon their return. Although the plant is not edible, researchers say the findings could be important for space exploration. Los Angeles Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani announced on social media last night that he'll play for Team Japan in the 2026 World Baseball Classic. Fresh off a second World Series title with the Dodgers, Ohtani returned to the mound this past season after not pitching for nearly 2 years following a second repair of his ulnar collateral ligament. He did not say in his post Monday whether he would be pitching for Japan. Japan will be looking to repeat after winning gold in the 2023 Classic. From the Grinch to Gossip Girl to a queen in the world of rock. Recently, we got a chance to sit down with Taylor Momsen, who is back in front of the mic to put a fresh spin on her own Christmas classic. Take a look. Now to our segment, Prime Playlist Shuffle, where we sit down with the artists who are transforming the music industry, rock star and Renaissance woman. Our next guest has been the lead vocalist of The Pretty Reckless for 17 years. But before taking the mic, Taylor Momsen made waves in television and film, notably starring as Jenny in Gossip Girl and as Cindy Lou Who alongside Jim Carrey in How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Take a listen.
Where are you, Christmas? Why can't I find you?
Now Momsen has come full circle, connecting her past and present with an EP with her band Taylor Momsen's Pretty Reckless Christmas that includes a reimagining of Where Are You, Christmas?
Where are you, Christmas? Why can't I find you? Why have you gone away?
All grown up now, Taylor Momsen joins us in studio. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I cannot complain. It's been 25 years since The Grinch. What made you decide now was the time to really revisit Where Are You, Christmas?
Well, it actually started in 2020. It was COVID, and it started with the fans. And so for 17 years, 15 years, every Christmas I would see fans put the connection together that I played Cindy Lou Who, and they would always ask for an updated version of the song from the film done by my band, The Pretty Reckless. And for years I said no. And fast forward to COVID, everyone's in a very dark place. You know, the world is. Personally, I'm not doing great. And we're in the rehearsal space playing, and I start to see all these comments again because it's the holidays. And I turn to the band and I go, should we just try this? Should we just see? And we run through it. And I kid you not, by the end of the song, all of us had giant grins on our faces.
Oh, wow.
And it healed something in all of us. And we decided at that moment that it was something that we were going to do. And then I went to work writing an original Christmas record around it to give it kind of context and a completist. But that was kind of the moment. So really this entire project is just a giant present to the fans.
The Grinch, of course, is a movie that is a staple around the holidays. People are starting to play it again. How do you look back at that experience now?
I look at it so fondly, and I think that was something, you know, when I was looking back at my past and when I decided to do this, it was, you know, of all the things I've experienced in my life, I have no bad memories of The Grinch. Like everything about making that and all the people I got to work with was just absolutely, honestly wonderful and such an important part of my childhood.
You mentioned all the people you got to work with. You recently reunited with Jim Carrey at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. What was that like?
Crazy. It was crazy. It was, first of all, it was complete and utter kismet timing that coincidentally lined up like that he was inducting Soundgarden, I was playing with Soundgarden. So we're both there celebrating Soundgarden, and what are the odds that it happens to be the 25th anniversary? It happens to be right when I'm putting out this Christmas record. And it was just so amazing, like hugging him and seeing him, like it's hard to explain, but he felt like home to me. Like it was just like seeing an old family member. It was amazing.
And as you said, you were there honoring new inductees, Soundgarden.
Yeah.
Just talk to us about what the band means to you.
They mean so much to me. I mean, they're their music has impacted me in ways that I don't even know how to put into words. And, you know, getting to know them as people over the past, I don't even know how many years it's been now, has just been incredible. Like they're kind of, I love them so much.
In August, you released For I Am Death.
For I am death, and I can feel, I got my hands up on the wheel.
What's been the response from your fans?
It's been amazing. It's been so amazing. It just went #1. So
that is great.
It's our 8th #1 song, which is surreal to even say out loud. I'm so thankful. I'm so excited about it, and it's just the beginning of the new era. So it's just the very beginning, and that's an exciting place to be.
Speaking of exciting places to be, you can tell everybody where you're going to be on Thanksgiving morning and what you're going to be doing.
I am going to be at the Macy's Day Parade in New York City this Thanksgiving, and I am so excited about it. I'm going to be participating in the parade itself, and then I'm also going to be performing. And it's been a dream of mine since I was little to be a part of the Thanksgiving Day Parade. I'm a New Yorker, and so it's such classic New York. Like the holidays in Manhattan are everything, and I'm so excited about it. It's going to be fantastic.
We are excited to see that. Taylor, thank you so much for coming by. You can now stream Taylor Momsen's Pretty Reckless Christmas and For I Am Death anywhere you listen to music. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us.